All right, here with Chase to talk about his team and kind of how he's feeling as we get into the preseason, reveal his team's preseason rankings, and just discuss and react and talk and all that stuff. So, things have been busy for you in the last week or so in particular. So, you just got back from France, got the COVID, which is always fun. And so you're still
Yeah.
recovering from that. So I'm glad that you're recovering, glad you're feeling better. But when I asked you when, you're like, literally whenever I'm bored. So
Yeah.
thanks for taking the time when you're not feeling 100%. Um, we did Cam's interview already. First thing I asked him was about France. So I'm going to ask you the same question I asked him. What was the most underrated part? There were things that you were probably excited for that you already knew you were
Mm.
going to be excited for when you went there. But what was there anything like? Was there any part that was super underrated from your perspective?
Okay. Yeah. So I wasn't. So we took a train from Paris down to Nice, and the train ride was like way more fun than I was expecting. So
Hmm.
I thought it was going to be just like a day of shitty traveling, like when you
Yeah.
get on a plane. But it was way less stressful. There was way more space, and we were kind of with a group, so we all got to hang out. Um, so I would say rail travel is my
Ah, there you go.
underrated part.
That's a fun one. So can I ask a follow up question? I guess have you taken like Amtrak trains in the states or anything?
Yeah, I have.
Okay,
Uh,
so it's even better
and
than
it
that because not that Amtrak's amazing, but like the first time I was on a train, I was like, I've got leg room, I can charge my stuff, I can walk around, I can go get food. Like, it was really comfortable. But you're saying that this was even like another level up.
Yeah. It's like I mean I think it's just a more normal part of their life.
Hmm.
So like they've kind of dressed it up and it's a little fancier, a little nicer.
Yeah, yeah. As
But
opposed to like feeling like you're gonna get stabbed on a bus or on an Amtrak half the time.
exactly, exactly.
That's great.
Yeah.
And then it was a buddy's wedding you guys were over there for. You said you toured a wine cellar and did a wine tasting, which Cam missed and everything, and it was great.
Yeah.
Did you bring
Yeah.
anything back with you, or did you just kind of leave it all over there like as memories?
No, yeah, we left everything over there. We came with check bags that were at like 49.9 pounds each, so we did
Yeah,
very little in terms of souvenir stuff.
I heard the strategy is to pack a bag inside of your checked bag and then fill that bag in the thing and then bring everything back with it if you do that. But I'm with you. Like I like to have the memories and not bring as much back if I can. But it's awfully tempting. I'm sure there were things over there where you're like, if I can shave
I love
off
that.
4 pounds, I'll bring this back with me. But
Yeah. Yeah,
it's
for
great to
sure.
do that.
Yeah.
I didn't test this. I hope I didn't screw this up. I didn't screw it up. Okay, I did
Oh yeah,
screw it
that's
up.
good.
I can't see you. So
Oh,
this is the prep work I said I was going to have to do that I didn't do. But it's okay. But this is what we've got. So here are our preseason power rankings. So the first thing we're going to talk about is what the league projects you to finish in the division. We'll talk about how many teams said that you're a lock for the playoffs, a lock for the toilet bowl, and a championship. Do you have any estimation on how the league has reacted to your finish in the division? I feel like there's been a very slow building hype train for the Liquidators. Do you think that that will come through in this survey, or do you think it'll be slightly different?
So I think it was particularly talking about the division just because it's a hard division, and I think both Morgan and Cam have pretty good teams. I wouldn't be surprised with really any result because, like, to be honest, I think it's pretty close to a toss-up between those three teams.
Yeah.
But I have more expectations about like if people think I'm like a playoff team or locked in the championships. That I would expect.
Yeah. Well, let's take a look without your face being there, but I'm going to quickly edit it in each time. First place or second place. That's it.
Yeah.
You were first or second, split down the middle in the league. 6 teams saying that they think you're going to win the division. 6 teams saying they think you're going to come in second place in the division. So you kind of mentioned the three-headed horse that you think isn't that there. Not a single vote thinking that you'll lose to either Cam or Morgan. We saw Cam's results yesterday, which were very in his favor as well. So it seems like the general consensus on the league um, is feeling. I'm trying to pull up Cam's if I can. I think I deleted them after I did it, so I don't get confused. But Cam had some good results as well, and so you're up there with him. So the league kind of thinking it's a bit of a 2-horse race, but you kind of gave Morgan his props. Does it surprise you not seeing maybe theoretically more going his way or more going Cam's way, and maybe even more of a split towards third, or do you feel like you are the first and second, even though it's a 3-horse race?
Yeah, I would put if I mean, to be honest, I think we're all three of us are quite tight. Yeah, I would have said it's a three-horse race. I think Cam has maybe a few more of the more established kind of Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase, Dante Adams kind of people, but I like Morgan seems to have a lot of the younger up and coming guys, and I think while I understand why most people would probably put him in third, like that's who I would like to bet on. So if Marion Hampton or Jaden Daniels kind of takes a big jump, which I don't think is unlikely,
Right.
then I think he's right there with us. So
Yeah.
I keep putting him third, but I think it's all close.
Yeah, and so I just did find the results for Cam. 5 teams saying he's in first, 6 in second, 1 team saying he's in third place. To which Cam and I made a joke of, "Hi Morgan, how are you?"
Yeah.
So the league feeling like it is between the two of you for first place, and we talk with Morgan soon to see kind of what his reaction is to, I guess, a lot of third place or fourth place votes. But yeah, I mean, I feel like the liquidators are getting the respect that they deserve. And you kind of see that with our next reveal here of 0 teams saying that they think you're locked in the toilet bowl. Again, doesn't mean that there's not a theory that you could or couldn't make it, but nobody, not a single team thinks it's a guarantee that you're in the toilet bowl. But let's flip that over. How many teams do you think said that Chase is an absolute lock for the playoffs?
Well, it's tough because the division's hard, but I would guess
Yeah.
this is something like 10 plus.
10 plus? You're correct. 11. By the way, fun fact for all of you counting and playing along at home, the most out of any team in the league. So even with half the league saying that you're going to come in second place, you still have 11 of 12 teams saying it is a lock that Chase is in the playoffs. That is more than Cam, who ended with 9. And it is tied with another team who has not done an interview yet, so we'll find that out soon enough. But you are tied for first place there. Who could that be? We'll find out. So tied for first place there. Cam coming in right behind you at 9, and some other teams before it drops off. Ticket to Ride, which we saw in the interview as well, at 8, and then there's a Cliff. So there's one other team that's really highly regarded, and it seems like right now it's the inaugurals, Ticket to Ride, the Liquidators, and our mystery team, who are the top 4 according to the league. But then it comes to the championship time. Any thoughts for how many teams said you're going to be in the championship? So not necessarily win, but 2 teams to make it to the finals. 11 of them saying you're a lock for playoffs, so you've got to do some math in your head saying it's got to be a decent number here. But, what would your prediction be?
This is probably a bit lower. A handful, 3, 4.
Close. 5.
5, yeah.
Tied with Cam. So Cam had 9 in the playoffs, but 5 to the championship. You've got 11 in the playoffs, 5 in the championship, tied for second most for the championship as well. Pretty good stuff. I feel like, as I was making some of these, there were a couple of these that were really brutal to make look nice and pretty. But this is one of the ones that was a lot more fun, where it's like the entire league has high expectations. Now, with that in mind, it does get a little bit tricky in the sense of like the pressure that's now got to be in your head, or that there have been, again, some small stepping stones that you've taken towards this point. Every single year has been about getting here, I would say, and now that you're here, does it mess with your mental state at all? Do you find yourself paying more attention or less attention, or is this just business as usual, really? Like you knew you were going to be here the whole time?
Yeah, more of that. Like I was thinking it would take a while, but now that I'm somewhat competitive, I don't feel a lot of pressure. I mean, I think maybe different from how I've heard you talk about building teams, but I believe less in like going all in at any certain point, but kind of trying to get to this point where you're very high value and high production, and then just maintaining that for as long as possible. So basically what I have now, the strength of team I have now, my goal is to basically just see if I can keep that up for 3, 4, as long as possible.
Yeah.
So yeah, not a ton of pressure. I mean, this is the first year that I feel like I'm really, really competing, and maybe everyone needs a heartbreaking playoff loss to really learn what it means to to win in the playoffs. But yeah, I think it's just part of the progression.
How does that factor into your team? Because right, so your typical dynasty league or whatever the case may be, it's a little bit easier or harder to get there, stay there, whatever the case may be. In a league like this, there's some flexibility with contracts expiring that you can go get some guys, but there's also some scariness in the sense that, you know, contracts do expire, and then you've got a couple big tickets with Joe Burrow and Christian McCaffrey taking up a little more than $600, barely more than $600 in your cap space. But then all that cap kind of comes flooding back to you next year. I know we're in this year, but, have you started to think about what happens next year with those guys gone? Do you feel like you'll have replacements for them? You kind of went over franchise tagging costs and, how do you think your plan, in a sense, has to change in such a different dynamic of a league?
Yeah. I don't know that it changes all that much. I have a couple expiring contracts, but I saved 2 roster moves this year, so I'll have an extra next year. I don't know if it's all that different. I think it'll be maybe a little harder to make a decision on CMC just based on his health and how this year goes and
Sure.
what next year looks like. And I assume he'll need a big contract either way. And do I want to do that? But yeah, I don't know that there's too much different. I'm going to have a lot of cap space next year. I'm going to have a lot of draft picks. So, if there is some sort of challenge or something that comes up, I have the resources to be flexible and to get around it. So,
Yeah.
I'm not playing all that differently than a normal
league. Yeah. I feel like there are certain times where, like, if you overcommit one way, where like you're playing this exactly like a normal dynasty, you're going to shoot yourself in the foot. But if you're playing this, it's just a salary, I have to this or that, then you kind of shoot yourself in the foot too. There's like an interesting balance you have to figure out. And I think you do have a plethora of picks again next year. There's not multiple firsts like you've had in the past. You've got your first, 2 seconds, one being Vic's, so that theoretically should be high. Bunch of thirds, bunch of fourths. So you've kind of got those, and I feel like those will be really handy in season as well to say, I need to buy some guy that isn't worth a second for a couple days here, weeks here, whatever that is, and you've got the firepower to do that. Whereas a team that's in a different situation with no picks might not have a third to send for the backup running back who's going to play the next 4 weeks because someone's done for the season. But you don't really want them anymore after this year, kind of thing. So it'll be really interesting to see.
I think that's why I personally would maybe, I think I put myself at 1 in the power rankings, is because compared to the other contenders, I think it's a little easier for me to be, if I need to be the Saquon buyer or if I need to fill in some holes, I think it's a bit easier for me to do than for the others. So
you've got more liquid, haha, pun intended.
Exactly.
Have you given any thought to changing the name from the Liquidators to anything else yet? Because now you're the Solidified, it seems like. But that's a whole other conversation.
Yeah,
I feel like it's such an iconic name with what you've done, though. It's tough.
Yeah, that's kind of where I landed. It doesn't fit with what I'm doing, but I don't know. It's a nice homage to where I came from.
Yeah, especially to a solid and sustained turnaround versus some of the ones that were a quick rise or quick fall, or a quick fall after one season, or whatever the case may be. So that kind of leads me to my last question. Really, is success for you this season? That goalpost has moved probably more than other teams in just a steady direction, as we've talked about a couple times now. But in your opinion, what needs to happen this season in order for you to consider this season a success? Is it a championship appearance? Is it a playoff appearance? Is it somewhere in between? Because unless I'm mistaken, I don't think you've made it to the playoffs yet. You barely missed last year. So is it just getting to the playoffs because you're still on that upward trajectory? There's no end in sight? Or do you feel like with these expectations, with the team that you have, with the division that you're in, that, hey, maybe playoffs is or maybe a championship is an option?
Yeah. I mean, I think at this point, where my team's at, anything, just making I kind of expect to make the playoffs. I would be pretty surprised if that doesn't happen. So given that feels like mostly a lock to me, I think I have to say the goal is a championship. That's what a successful season is, and I don't think it's like a terrible failure if it doesn't happen this particular year. I think I think in general people kind of underrate how much chance plays a role in that sort of thing in fantasy and in regular sports.
Yep.
So I'm not gonna feel terrible if it doesn't happen this year, but That's kind of what it would take.
Yeah. Yeah, and I agree. I feel like your team's on that trajectory. I mean, if you end in the money, I feel like in any capacity that's like successful in a sense as well. But I definitely think that with the expectations that you have for your team, with the expectations the league kind of has for your team, it's almost like if, and not to make this about the Eagles or anything, but it's almost like if the Eagles or the Chiefs and their owner was like, "What do you think you're going to do this year?" And you're like, "Oh, we'll make the playoffs." It's like, what do you mean we're going to make the like your goal should be to win the
Right.
thing? And I feel like you're in a very similar boat of it's time to do it. Does it give you any concern with you being in that division? You've kind of mentioned it's 3 horses, whereas I think the other divisions have 2, 2.5 at the most. Or do you think that you have a handed not victory, right? But do you think you have a leg up over Chase and over Cam and Morgan? You kind of mentioned Morgan's got the depth if they take a step forward. So do you think that maybe like you'll win like the first set of games against them and then it comes back, maybe not so much? Or you think Cam's lack of depth? Because you're right in the middle, right? Like Cam's got all the superstars and no depth. Morgan's got some great players and tons of depth, but only a couple of those top end guys. But I feel like you're the not the perfect balance, right? But you're a really good balance of both of those. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, who knows what'll happen? Any given game, at most against a contender, you're hoping to be like 60-40 chance of winning. So who really knows what it'll look like? But given enough dice rolls, like I feel like I'm the most likely winner there. But yeah, I mean, I don't love being in this division. It's not ideal, but at the same time, like I think it's fine, and I still expect to be in the playoffs if that's as a wild, if that's not as a division winner, but as a wild card, fine. But
yeah. Well, it's also like Morgan said too at one point in time, even though we kind of made fun of him for it, and like he's definitely like the antagonist of the league sometimes, but he also says some things that are so simple that it's just so true, and he's like, "You just win." Is the cat attacking you? The cat's making its appearance
not
once
like
per episode. That's a cat for you.
I
mean, Morgan just kind of said it simply once. It's like you just got to win, like just win. And so it's like it doesn't matter what division you're in. If you're going to win the whole thing, you're going to win the whole thing. So just go win it. So looking forward to see if that is the case for you guys and the team this season. So that will do it for us. Thanks for the time, especially when you're not feeling 100% and the girlfriend's not feeling 100%. So hope you guys feel better soon, and we'll see you in the season.
All right.